In these food deserts, if people in District 1 have to go to Trustfield and Centerpoint to shop for groceries, and that is the biggest revenue producing district for this city, it is also by population the biggest populated, most densely populated district. Why is the mayor not marketing that district like he does the South Side? He markets the South Side for hotels, for restaurants, the baseball team, of course, that he spent the $96 million on. As your mayor, I will market the entire city. I will get these ragged roads fixed. I will cut wasteful spending in the city. I will assure you, I'll start with all of the department heads will be required to live in my city. If you want to police us, then you should live amongst us. That will be a requirement. I will implement immediately, the first week, the recommendations of the disparity study to equal the economic playing field, very similar to what Maynard Jackson did in Atlanta, Georgia, and Coleman Young did in the early good days of Detroit. I would do that as your mayor. I will have an immediate moratorium on homeless feeding shelters in residential. I'm sorry, not residential. I will have an immediate moratorium on homeless feeding in financial and entertainment districts. Why? Because these are areas that deal with revenue for our city. Business districts, when you bring in business people here or you're taking them out to be entertained, you don't want them hit on like it's a beautiful woman 3 or 4 times before they go into the door of a restaurant. Somebody trying to teach you how to park that you've been licensed for, and then they ask you for money, and the buddy's standing, they see you give that one person money, and then another guy walks across the street and asks you for some money, and before you go in the door, you got a third person. This actually happened to me, and I'm going to put an end to it. Now, I have compassion, so I have a program that I will implement through that ordinance also that will allow and require that homeless shelters and feeding sites be located in specific areas in 4 quadrants of this city. We need more Jimmy Hill Mission type places like you have across the First Avenue Viaduct in all 4 quadrants of the city. We want to restore people's personal dignity, get them their license back, a place to stay, give them some training so they can get their life back and get a place to stay and have a job. I've met with and talked with some individuals that have programs that we can do this with. We know that we have some programs that'll work. I will eliminate immediately, after a forensic audit, all of those programs that have not been working. People just getting a fat administrative check on the backs of the city. There was a study put out recently by the Public Policy Institute. It came out, I believe, April 15th, 2013, and it was published in the Birmingham News, talking about the waste in this city and how we're way over budget on just about everything. And the biggest one was the judicial system and police protection. Well, police protection is important, but if you got people working through sustainable industries and programs that you create in your city, if they're working, they're not going to break in your house. If they're working, they're not going to have time for stealing. If they're working, they're not going to be on welfare. I want to bring these sustainable industries and programs to this city. I also want to establish